What's up guys, it's Lolly Lord and welcome to Spookfest 2024. Over a year ago, I made a tier list of every FNAF game that I've played and was released up to that point. And I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't a lot compared to what we have now. I'm gonna skip the intro and just show it to you. 3, 2, 1, boom. This catalog is massive. Now that's for a few reasons. First, I've now played every FNAF game as I've recently got Help Wanted. First episode will be going up for Spookfest unless that already came out. Another thing is that the DLCs are excluded. So like Ruin, Curse of Dreadbear, and Dark Circus DLC are excluded from the main game. And lastly, we have spin-offs and fanverse. So we have Friday in Space 2, we have the 5 Labs demo, and then we have the official Fazbear Fanverse games. Something I do need to say is that for most of my tier lists, I have this thing where it's like a 60-40 type deal, where it's 60% my subjective, 100% subjective opinions, and then 40% is like the game quality. Because if I really wanted, I can put Security Breach in an S tier, but it's got a lot of flaws. So I'm just gonna reorder this list and then we're gonna start. You'll see the new order in 3, 2, 1. Here it is. I'm gonna try to do a speed round with the Click Team era of games because my opinions on them have stayed mostly the same. Also, I want to get into the later games because these are more new. Starting off, FNAF 1, easy S tier. It was my favorite FNAF game for a while. First it was Sister Location, then FNAF 1 for like a year, and then a certain game came out. It's the same reasons that everyone else says. Aside from nostalgia, it's also got one of the most like just addicting gameplay loops. Got some decent lore. It's got some very memorable and iconic models. Phone Guy is really quirky, especially with like the week before dropping. Plus it's like the first of a genre that like before FNAF 1 there wasn't really a game style similar to it, so it innovated and that's why it's a little simple, but I also really like how simplistic it is. So I don't know, I can replay this game as much as I want. Combining my Steam hours on this, my old Steam account, and the Switch, I maybe have around 40 to 50 hours in this game, which is quite a lot for FNAF, and I'm not doing like speedrunning or challenges or anything, it's just straight up playing the game. That's quite a lot of hours. Moving on, FNAF 2. This is a great game, almost as good, but it's got a couple flaws. It's got better models, more content, a lot of lore, and some of the best lore in the series. Introduced a lot of concepts like Fredbears and the fact that a guy killed kids by putting on a yellow suit and luring them to the back room. Different mechanics other than just your office and the cameras. Also secret mini games and challenges. So much new stuff that just like it set motion for the rest of the series. I don't know if that's a phrase, set motion, I don't care. It's also a lot harder than FNAF 1 in my opinion, and for a lot of people's opinions. This is one of the few max modes I have not beaten because it is just unbelievably hard. Now for the two obvious flaws. The first one, pretty clear, the gameplay. I don't dunk on the gameplay as much as I used to and as much as a lot of other people. Just because the gameplay, a lot of people put this down in like C, D, and some even F, I'm pretty sure. The gameplay is decent for a few nights, and then even later, I like it because it's exhilarating and you always have to be on your toes. Like, it's not that bad. The complaint that a lot of people have is that you are locked to do one thing very early on for the rest of the game, and that is my problem too. That's one of the two problems with the gameplay. Night 3 and onward, you have to do the thing where you stay on cam 11, you wind the box, and then you flick immediately from the camera to the mask. You have to do that to beat the night. Now for the problem I think is more substantial is that it's not scary. Some of the jump scares still get me, like Foxy and like a couple of the toy animatronics like Toy Bonnie, Toy Chico, like every one of them that jump at you, they can still get me. But as an actual horror, it's not scary like at all. Now, to be honest, none of the FNAF games really scare me, but I can at least say that they are attempting. Like FNAF 1 could have scared me when I was younger. Sister Location scared me a couple years ago. Like, you know, some of these games are actually a little spooky, but then there are the ones that are nowhere near scary, like FNAF 2. I used to not understand why people had it in S tier and like the best FNAF game. I can understand that now because there's so many people that say that, but I personally don't think it's as good as the FNAF 1 game just because the gameplay and the horror. Moving on to FNAF 3 though, I honestly don't know what's better, FNAF 2 or 3. They're both pretty close because they are opposite of each other. FNAF 3 is much better gameplay, it's scarier, it still introduced some concepts like Springtrap as a whole, and the whole thing where it's not just an animatronic facing you, there's like apparitions and phantoms, and it's just one main threat. Like, that's cool. It also has, again, some of the best lore in the series with the mini games and the idea of different endings. You know, like, this also innovated for FNAF, but it's got a couple more huge problems, one of them being the aesthetic. I mean, it's okay because it gives it character, and Springtrap is all green and rotted. The whole icon is green, so the whole game is green, but I don't know, it's just kind of ugly. The cameras are also very hard to look at. Sometimes I don't even know Springtrap is on the camera. I get that's the point, but like, after playing this series for 5 years, I should probably know all of his camera stills, and I don't. Like I said, it's unique to FNAF 3 and it gives the characters just not very pleasant. I wouldn't design a whole like attraction to be just green. I don't know who would. And then there's the obvious thing of the game being too easy. But wait, something I didn't try until recently when I got the game on Steam is the aggressive mode. I mean, like, yeah, the game is easy. It's really easy, and I was able to beat it in under an hour. But there's an aggressive mode for a reason. Too hard. FNAF 3 on the normal mode would go in like D tier. Even nightmare mode I was able to beat in a few tries. On aggressive mode, this is mad hard. This is unbelievable. I could not pass night 2. Can you believe that? I was able to beat aggressive nightmare mode, but that's because there are certain strategies made for that mode. No one's made strategies that specifically work on nights 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are just really hard, and I've tried it like night 2 a lot, and I couldn't get past it. To conclude, it is too easy and too hard. I'll probably put it below FNAF 2 because it didn't innovate as much as FNAF 2 did, and it's not as iconic, but they are pretty close, except FNAF 4. I think I said this in my last year video. I used to have it in B tier, then I moved it to C. I didn't like it as much, and then I moved it to D. I did not like this game at all, and I was on the fence of F tier, but there were some redeeming qualities that didn't put it in F tier.
Alright, we are getting to the most overrated game in the series, in my opinion. We have Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Holy crap, why do people praise this game so heavily? It's so bad.
Quick confession, I've only played the game one time up to that point. Played nights 1 through 7 one time, never replayed the game. Tried 420 countless times and could not beat it. That was on Switch when I was around 10 years old. Years later, I get it back on the PC and I replay it. More fun. Nights 1 through 5, I beat them all within a day. I'm pretty sure I beat night 1 and 2 earlier in the day, and then I grind late at night for nights 1 through 5. It's fun. My main thing was that if the breathing was replaced, it would be a lot better. But honestly, like, it's not that bad. I don't know if it's Nintendo glitches or if it's just me being bad at the game. Maybe it's a mixture of the two, but this game is not as bad as I said it was. I was able to beat 420 mode on this. That said, it was using like the cheat strategy with like the timers and stuff. Except for Nightmare, like 4 a.m. I actually just was good. I believe the main gameplay is harder, a lot harder than the Nightmare segments, and that is one of the complaints I have. It's a little bit of a minor one, but I think as a final boss kind of thing, Fredbear is good. Like, it's good and cool. It was a mix. I don't know what happened. Nightmare, though, is a little underwhelming because, yeah, there's the whole fake laugh thing. But all you have to do is listen for more footsteps, and then you'll identify if it was real or fake. It's really not that bad. I don't want to go into all the flaws. I'll go into some of them. Some of the designs are over the top. Some of them are really good. So it's like a decent balance. Although the game is really unique in the whole like room aesthetic and house aesthetic, I really miss the, like, you know, the battery power about literally anything, or the cameras. It's kind of sad. Also, I don't really like the mini games in this. They are really vague and complicated, and not in the way that FNAF 2 and 3 are. FNAF 2 and 3 have been solved. Almost all of those mini games have been solved. Whether it took a long time or quickly, FNAF 4 is still unsolved in almost every minigame because it is so vague. It also doesn't have any Easter eggs. This started to end the string of Easter eggs in FNAF, with the last one really being Sister Location for years. But I'll get to that soon. There's a few other things, like the game isn't actually scary, it's only the jump scares. When I was playing the games, I had it on headphones, pretty high blast, so I could listen and stuff. It wasn't scary. I will admit though, whenever I got jump scared, I threw my headphones off like this, like, and then stood for 5 seconds staring at the monitor, then continued to play, because the jump scares do hit you pretty damn hard. But jump scares and the lead up to the jump scare, or just spookiness in general, three completely different things. Moving on to FNAF World, this is where that whole 60/40 things have come into play. Also, I just need to say Halloween Edition, Sizzlecation Custom Night are not DLC, they are just add-ons to the game. And so that's why Update 2 is not a DLC, making this game fantastic. I love FNAF World. I replayed it recently. I replayed almost all of these games recently, and FNAF World was probably the one I had the most fun with, if not one of them. It was a lot of fun. It has probably, I think, the most endings in the series. It's very cute. It has an art style I like a lot more than goddamn 5 Laps at Freddy's here, but I'll talk about that later too. FNAF World is very charming. I used to say that the gameplay was bad and that it was a joke of an RPG, but it is so mediocre that it was charming. It has a lot of unfunny Scott charm that I just really like. Like, a lot of the jokes in this game are really unfunny. Like Fredbear, like, oh, voice acting, he's gone too far this time. It's so stupid. I love it. How can you not like that? I don't know. This game is just the definition of fun. I love this game whenever I play it, even if there's some grinding. Moving on to what was originally an extremely hot take, but lowered down to a very hot take, Sizzlecation. For many, many years, I had Sizzlecation on top, the best FNAF game. And sort of recently, like nearly a year ago, I moved it down. Here's why. Sizzlecation is still a fantastic game in my opinion. I have a lot of fun playing it. I know that it could be numbing for a lot of people, and I said this a lot in my stupid oh yeah reaction, which I think is a horrible video, by the way. From like what I remember from my videos, because I have a lot of garbage videos I can imagine, but out of the ones that I know, that is one of my least favorite videos I made. One of the arguments I made in that, and repeated it at least 100 times, was that the game is a story game and not focused on the gameplay, and that is a game that you replay every once in a blue moon, not every month like a lot of people do with other FNAF games. If you replay this game every year or two, you will probably have more fun than if you were to replay it every month or every 2 months, because it's supposed to be fresh. I played it in like 2020. I replayed it in 2022. It was a lot of fun. I'm probably gonna replay it soon, just because, you know, why not? It's a very interesting take on the series. It's the only game like this because people either liked it or didn't like it. Gameplay really isn't that bad, especially when you take into account that Help wanted to showcase that they could all be good, and then you look back at these, they really weren't that bad. These versions are obviously a lot better, but like, I don't know, I always had fun playing these, except for I guess like Night Force Dislocation and like Night 5 as a whole. Everything else I think is fine. Private Room, a lot of people say, is one of the best gameplay in the series, one of the best nights in the series, which it absolutely is. Custom Night is also very fun, and the challenges are very fun to tackle, and I can agree on that. It's also my favorite max mode and a lot of people's favorite max mode. Just Golden Freddy mode is fun because it is full skill and 0 RNG. So if you have a strategy, it should work 100% of the time if you're really good. Overall, great game. It does have the flaws though that I just refused to look at for some reason a few years ago, and I decided to actually look at them. I still really like the game. There's some sentimental value in there because it is one of the first games I played, and also I just always loved it, and it's hard to let go of that. Moving on to the biggest glow up in the series that I've seen, FNAF 6. I played it over a year ago, about a year and a half ago. I played it and it was great. Recently I went back to replay the FNAF games and I got all the endings for this. First of all, it took a long time to do. Some of those, like Blacklisted, took 2 attempts, 2 full weeks. Lord Keeper took a little while as well. And like the Posh Pizzeria achievement also took a lot of planning. But it showed me how amazing the Tycoon is, how not even that bad the Office gameplay is, and still how horrible the Salvage is. My Tycoon is so much deeper than I thought it was, because in order to get all the endings, you need to follow a path and then branch out into different ways to get what you want. This game, you need the most strategy for both the Tycoon and the Office gameplay, which I originally had it pretty damn low. Then I moved it up a little bit. Now I like it, you know, it's not that bad. Some of the nights, like Blacklisted especially, was really hard on the later nights because on 50 Risk they are very aggressive. And the Office gameplay, I don't like how you can't see the animatronics except for the jump scares. Like, I think that's a little lazy, but overall it's not that bad. And then the salvage is horrible. I might talk about that in another video. I have a video planned out. I don't know if I'll make it. But like when I take everything into account, this has a lot of content. It's better than Dislocation, but I don't replay it as much as FNAF 1. FNAF 1 is the second most replayable game in the series for me personally. Number 1 is Security Breach. I'll talk about that later. But like out of the 2 most replayed games I have, it is FNAF 1 and Security Breach. I've played this game every year for the 10th anniversary, every year for other reasons. I've replayed it like 6 times in full. It's just a great time. I don't know. Ultimate Custom Night. I used to have this very high. I used to have it at the bottom of S tier. Then I had it in A, and I think I might still have it in A, but probably B because the lore is pretty mid. Theorizing about the game was good until I really started to get into the deep levels of theorizing. And I started looking at Twitter and Reddit, and I started seeing Andrew, because I don't read the books, you know. I've read maybe 10 FNAF fiction books, and then a few of the non-fiction ones. I don't care about a lot of them because a lot of them suck, unfortunately. And so when I finally figured out about Andrew, it makes this game a lot less fun to theorize about, because the whole lore is solved basically, except for who's the one you should not have killed. Is it Cassidy or Andrew? Other than that, it doesn't have many other secrets except the Fredbear Easter egg. I still really like that, in that Golden Freddy can't die really. He can't get death coin, and that the jump scare is cool, but it also set the community into a huge debate, so it's whatever. Lore aside and secrets aside, everything else aside, the reason I have it so much higher than a lot of other people is that the gameplay is mad fun. I don't even know if it's better than FNAF World, actually. I might just keep it here. The gameplay is so well refined, and a lot of the characters do similar things, but that's just because Scott can't think of 50 different like mechanics for characters. That's way too much to think about and probably way too much to deal with. That said, Ultra Custom Night exists, so if you want that, go ahead. Help wanted. This is the big zinger because I just beat this literally a couple days ago as of recording this. I beat the pizza party level. I already have like more than half the tapes. 100%ing is gonna take a lot longer, but as for the game itself, I actually really like it. Here's the interesting thing. When I first joined the fandom, it was the newest game in the series. It was like 2019, late 2019. So the game was at the top of every tier list, because you know, it's VR FNAF. Who wouldn't like that? And then now when I see tier lists, it's usually in like, you know, the B's, probably the mid-range, because people started to realize its flaws when this game dropped. People started to realize that the game didn't look as great. The game was a little boring for some mini games, in that like the recreations of the OG games for the most part were lackluster. I have mostly the same critiques. I played the Oculus version of the game and it looks horrible compared to the Steam and PlayStation version. It's like if Steam and PS4 were PlayStation 4 graphics, Oculus was like PlayStation 2. It's unbelievable. It's like night and day. It's like freaking apples and oranges comparing those, and then seeing Help Wanted 2, which is the pair, which actually looks good on Oculus, unlike Help Wanted, but you know, tangent aside, it's a great game still. I actually got scared multiple times while playing this. Usually if I get scared during a FNAF game, it's just a couple moments like, ooh, I'm at the edge of my seat, or he's chasing me, I have to go find a place to hide. But this game genuinely, consistently scared me. I was so happy when I played the Night Terrors minigames, and every one of them scared me to at least a degree, because the sound effects, you walking up to the door to see whoever it is coming towards you, the Funtime Freddy level, Nightmarian level specifically, were very scary. Funtime Auditorium as well. FNAF 1 sometimes. The OG games didn't scare me really. It's not as scary as some people say it is. Everyone that I heard said the game was absolutely terrifying. From friends to content creators to Scott Cawthon to Steelwool, all said the game was terrifying. It wasn't terrifying. That could be in part because I've watched the whole game a few times by multiple creators. Yeah, it did the best it could for me, and it got me the best in the series by far. It's also just fun, some of the mini games. Like Mangle Vent Repair was pretty boring and easy, but Ennard, that was fun. I think out of all of the FNAF remakes from FNAF 1, 2, 3, and Night Terrors and Dark Rooms and all that, FNAF 1 is easily the best because it's the only one that is better than the original. FNAF 1 is such a simple game that whenever it gets remade, whether fan game or official game, they usually tend to keep it the same with a couple quirks and changes, and that's what Help Wanted did. Also, it's just more aggressive because I think they made the nights shorter. They must have made it around 6 minutes or something because the power went down a lot quicker. There was a lot shorter nights, and the animatronics were a lot more aggressive, especially on like night 5 and night 4. They were actually fun to play. FNAF 2, I would say, is only really FNAF 2 on the Wizards night that they added on the maximum dangerous mode. I beat it first try, but it was still one of the harder mini games. I had actually a lot of fun playing that because you actually had to have your hand on the mask the whole time, basically, and then do everything else with your one hand. On the other nights, I would usually be using both hands on the lights and sometimes the music box, but like on the Wizards night, I had to have my hand on the mask the whole time because the Wizards were unexpected, and that is what FNAF 2 is. It's unexpected. But like most of the FNAF 2 nights 1 through 4, and even night 5 were pretty boring, and that's when the FNAF 3 mini games come into play. Mad boring. FNAF 3, even night 5 was really easy. Not much to comment about that. I've been dragging it on a little long, but basically is that this game has really high highs and then pretty low lows. I do think that Glitch Trap originally was horrible and it was one of my least favorite lore in the series, but after the Mimic saved FNAF, like genuinely, I think the lore is not that bad. Overall, great game. You know what I used to think was better until I played this though? Curse of Dreadbear. This is a great DLC. Oh my god. This is like not my final ranking for this DLC specifically because I only played the flat mode version, not the VR version, because I just really wanted to experience it last year. But from what I played, it was really fun. I liked every minigame except I guess like Corn Maze. Getting the 5 keys was horrible, and then I guess like the Dreadbear repair thing, that was a little tedious, but I liked everything else. The plush babies with the masks, Captain Foxy, Trick or Treat, Hallway, they were all fantastic. I like them all. I also think the models are great. Grim Foxy's a fantastic design. Dreadbear is a fantastic design. The introduction of Vanny is very mysterious, very cool, and the lead up to Security Breach was great until she wasn't in Security Breach, but I'll talk about that later. Crest of Dreadbear is just a fun minigame collection. I don't know if it'll be scary. Probably will a little bit. Not as much as Help Wanted though, because I don't know, I just don't see it being as scary as Help Wanted. A lot of people put it higher, which that makes sense because the mini games are more fun. From what I see, all the games are unique, and even the ones that are like based off of FNAF 1, which is Danger Keep Out, that was the best mini games. So in the end, I might have it above Help Wanted, but we'll see for now. Next up, we got FNAF VR. This is the dud in the series for now. Not a lot to say. It's not as bad as people say it is because I actually played the game quite a lot. I didn't spend any money on it though, and that's okay because I got a lot of fast tokens right before the game closed, so I didn't need to. Fantastic models. If you actually get to fight the animatronics and don't have to spend full cash on it, it is some fun bosses as well. I think if they kept the game the same where they didn't have those health bars and they didn't have XP and like levels and all that, then it would have like, and they just kept adding characters, it would have been great. If this was a regular PC game that you buy for like $10, all the characters were available with in-game purchases, like with in-game currency, fast tokens, and if they were a lot easier to get, this game would actually be pretty damn fun because, like I said, some of the characters are actually fun to deal with. But if I'm gonna be honest, this game is nothing without the Dark Circus DLC, which is also kind of nothing burger. I think together this game would be C tier, but alone, like they both just go hand in hand here. Dark Circus was pretty fun. It was just a decent DLC I got to play right before the game ended. I didn't want to buy it because it was really expensive. It was like $20 or $13 or whatever. So I just wanted to wait until it eventually just got free. And right before the game ended, like literally a few days before, I was able to play it and beat it in full. And so I was able to fight A, Ballora, which I've never fought before, and then B, Golden Freddy, which I've never fought before. And Golden Freddy was actually pretty hard and actually pretty fun. Next up, I got this game. It's bad. I wouldn't put it in F tier, but I'll put it here. Got some nice charms. Some of the bosses are stupid silly, like the Fat Chica one and Totem Bonnie and Sock Puppet, Hand Puppet, and of course the secret bosses like the Game Theorists and Doc Markiplier. Those are all fun, but the actual game itself, really poor level design. I could say that this is just a silly spin-off game made for charity, which is a very good thing. But then when you take into account what's it called, Chica in Space, which I don't have here because I don't have troll games here. If I did, it would go high because I actually had a lot of fun playing that game. this pales in comparison. Moving on though, the fanverse games are so good. I'm telling you, once more fanverse games come out, these fanverse games are going to dominate the main games because they are just so high quality and good. I stopped caring about how short the game is unless it's like really short, like this. But even then, this has quite a bit of content because of the hard-boiled mode. I played the hard-boiled mode and Flumpty Night on the channel a few years back when it first came out. This is what really got me into fan games. This game is just near perfection when it comes to everything. Nearly perfect gameplay, great jump scares for what it is. It's got humor built into it as well. It's very classic as for what the other Flumpty's games are. It keeps the same vibe as that while also being a huge upgrade. Flumpty Night is like one of my favorite nights in official FNAF. It is very climactic at the end, and the song, I think it was called Electro Swing. Yeah, Electro Swing was very fire. And the hard-boiled mode is just great, you know. It is hard, not too hard like Flumpty's 2, but not too easy like Flumpty's 1. It's just fun overall. Really decent, good, amazing game. Then we move on to Security Breach. Now look, if I were to do fully objective, this game would go pretty low. If I were to go off of just subjective, this game would go really high. If I were to go in the middle, it would go here. I love Security Breach. I could talk about this game for a long time because I have played this game for a long time. I think I've said this before, but including PS4 and PS5, I'm pretty sure I have over 120 hours in this game, which is ridiculous because I've basically never done speedruns except for those unofficial ones I did, and then also I've also never done challenges. So it's just pure fun. If you were to look at my Security Breach playthrough, I have 2. Collecting them up, I probably have around 50 videos. And if you were to look in the PS5 playlist specifically, I have so many completely useless videos that you do not need to watch. I just made them because I felt like it. You know, it's nearly the end of the school year. It's summer. The patches are coming out. It's a great time. I've made a video about every patch because I loved this game so much. It's the first FNAF game that I witnessed come out, except for I guess Fury's Rage if you count that. But this was just a incredible time. I just personally really like this game. I get that it has a lot of flaws. I get that it's not scary and it dropped with a lot of glitches. I actually witnessed some of those because I was on the PS4. I understand that some of the animations in the game are really silly and goofy and just whack. Glamrock Freddy is amazing. Gregory isn't that great, but paired with Glamrock Freddy, he's also like a great duo. It's got some of my favorite endings in this. The Burn Trap ending is fun. The Princess Quest ending is one of the best endings in FNAF. The car ending was really silly. Fire ending was also kind of silly. It was just a fun time all around. Biggest FNAF game, one of the most expensive FNAF games, but money well spent. Next we get into Pop Goes Arcade, and once again, these fanverse games are unbelievable. I don't know if I put it above because, like I said, like FNAF 1 personally is amazing. I love the game personally, and I'm very attached to FNAF 1. If we're going just off of game quality, it'd probably go like bottom S or high A, but it's really myself that's putting it this high, and I might put it above just because this game isn't scary, but it's got everything else. A, it's not supposed to be scary because it's just RPG. B, it is a great RPG. The battle system is fun. The game was already great. I already really liked the game as a fan game in the 2020 version, which I did play before the premium one came out. But then when the premium came out for $5 and it dropped with, what the hell was it called? The Machinist. This game is freaking fantastic. Like Security Breach, I did play this game for a long time for no reason. I did play every update when they dropped in 2022. I obviously didn't play nearly as much as Security Breach, but I probably have around 15 hours in the game. The soundtrack is very nice. Obviously the Machinist theme has been critically acclaimed in the Pop Goes community and the FNAF community in general. Honest banger. I might put it above FNAF 1. I don't know. These two are really interchangeable. I might have Pop Goes Arcade above because even when it is scary, it's pretty eerie. Like, you know, some of the endings and the secrets in the game are pretty eerie, and it's got a lot of content. I just really like Pop Goes Arcade. For now, I'm gonna put it above, but I can change it whenever I want. Next up, we got FNAF Ruin. This is... it's whatever you want it to be. It's either you really don't like it or you really like it. I'll put it in like it. a thing I see for Ruin is that it is fantastic, except the gameplay is very monotonous and it's the same thing for the whole game. And then I ask, what is FNAF then? Like, yeah, the whole game is security nodes and you just do the same wandering around for the whole game. But like, isn't that what FNAF is? You have one concept and you do it for the whole game. And then also, like, the concept gets increasingly more different and sometimes, most of the time, more challenging throughout the nights, which is what Ruin does as well, with like the endos in chapter 2, the music men in chapter 8, like chapter 7. It does change, and I even replaying this on the PS5, I played it 3 times technically, because I made my own like true nightmare. I still have fun playing it. Short and sweet, free DLC, a lot scarier than Security Breach. When I first played it, I thought it was a little scary. Obviously, the big star of the show is the Mimic. Mexis is a good second. Mimic is fantastic. I'm one of the Mimic lovers. I love the Mimic, and I think it saved FNAF lore. I think if this game didn't have the Mimic and all those Mimic-y endings, it'd probably be in B tier, right above Security Breach, maybe even below. But this game, like Ruin, Mimic, it's great. Then we move on to Help Wanted 2, which I originally said was too overrated. A lot of people put it as the best or one of the best FNAF games. I don't put it that high. I used to have it pretty low A tier. Then I moved it higher. This game was a little rocky when I was playing it. I played it once again on the Oculus version. Had a few problems, but aside from some like less than fortunate happenings, the actual minigames are really great. The thing that people said from Help Wanted 1 is that the original minigames, like I said, were a little monotonous and boring and watered down. But the original minigames, like most of Curse of Dreadbear and Vent Repair and even the Parked in Service a little bit, were actually fun and different because they were made for VR. And so Help Wanted 2 decided to go all in with that. They said in the blog post that they were going to try to make these games really replayable and different every time you play, and that there would only be a few scripted games. And they did not lie with that. Every minigame is fun. Some of my favorite minigames are like the Arts and Crafts Daycare, Carousel. I tried speedrunning that a few times. It's a little hard to get down. I might put it on speedrun.com. I don't know. The endings are also pretty great, in my opinion. They are very confusing, which I haven't had a FNAF game confuse me this much in a few years. But, you know, it's okay because Princess Quest 4 is one of the best endings in the series. Princess Quest 4's minigame is fantastic. When I first watched it, I was blown away. I was mesmerized from what I was watching. And then the actual ending had me scratching my head for a full month until I finally figured out what it meant. And even then, I don't know what the canon ending is. It's great. The game looks really good. Compared to Help Wanted, the game's textures and the lighting and everything is just so much better than Help Wanted 1, in my opinion. Overall, the game is not scary. That was a big letdown. I thought the game would be a little scary, at least. When I was watching it, I knew this is not made to be scary. But maybe a couple minigames will get me, which I'd say the only times I got scared was Ennard, one time on the Ennard level, which was going to be the most boring level, which it was. It is the worst level. I closed the door on him, I waited a little bit, and then I opened it, and he was just standing right there, got jump scared, and then he actually jump scared me. So that was a little spooky. And then also Funtime Freddy in the breaker room. He got too close to me. I died. I didn't expect him to get that close because I was just trying to test his boundaries. Other than that, it really did not get me at all. The game is also ridiculously easy. I'd say this might be easier than Security Breach. It's easier than Help Wanted and Curse of Dreadbear. It is one of the easiest in the franchise, in my opinion. There are just a couple hard minigames which really don't exist. Even the hard mode or nightmare mode or whatever you want to call it, sort of a nothing burger, not a lot going on. But the gameplay itself and how good the game looks, like in my opinion, this game is a total upgrade in every way from Help Wanted except for the horror, which is a big thing, but also you have to weigh it out. Next up, we got a little cute legacy demo of FNAF for, it was pretty good. I don't have a lot to say about it. I'd probably put it in C tier. I had fun playing it, played it for around 30 minutes. A lot of that was dialogue boxes. I have decently high hopes for the game, but not too much because I know this game isn't dropping until I graduate or something. Then we get into the 10th anniversary, which, by the way, I think I've already said this, but the 10th anniversary week was freaking incredible. From My Pop Goes to the 10th anniversary, August 8th, it was just a fantastic ride. Into the Pit obviously carried, but every day felt amazing. Every FNAF member was united again, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. That said, My Pop Goes. does not go there. Bottom egg, you know, it's fun. It's pretty fun. It is a minigame collection for around $5. 21 achievements. An issue I had with the game originally was that the game was way too hard. That is because I never played an LCD type game, like just one of these time management or resource management games. I haven't tried them. So when I played the original version back in 2023, it was really hard, night 5 or day 5. The mini games were a little challenging, but not that bad. It was really the challenges that got me. I was able to do like 1 or 2 of them, and then the rest of them were way too hard, until I finally decided to watch videos and freaking study and lock in, and I was finally able to figure out how to beat these. Time comes and I finally beat Endless at 9 p.m. before Kane nerfs it, and I get the true ending, which spoilers ahead. I'll put a timestamp for where to skip. Ending is amazing. I saw it on Twitter before. I thought I wasn't gonna beat the game, so I watched it on YouTube before I actually got the ending. But the whole Unwithered's VHS type show stage thing is very cool to see, and they are technically official Unwithereds, which I don't think Unwithereds existed, but I'm not here to discuss lore. The secret ending is also great. Getting it was more fun than the actual ending. It was a little underwhelming because I'm not too big into Pop Goes lore. I don't know a lot about it anyways, but I don't know, it's cool. Overall, my Pop Goes was a fun game. Great way to start the 10th anniversary week, and I was one of the like 5 people that was actually excited for the game's release, and I was one of the only like 5 people that bought it as soon as it went up on Steam, like 5 minutes late. Next up is a pretty hot take. A lot of people put the Joy Creation Story Mode as one of, if not the best fan game, and I stand by that. I think it is one of the most high quality, most fun, difficult, and scary fan games, and even compared to actual FNAF media, it is very high up there. I actually have a tier list somewhere. I make a lot of tier lists, and I have an old FNAF fan games tier list. Probably a little outdated in a couple ways, but I can pull it up. Never mind, it's pretty well dated. Here it is. I haven't played too much. I know this looks like a lot, but there are a lot of fan games, and T-Jock Story Mode ranks pretty damn high. That said, when this dropped, I was really excited, but there was one thing I was scared about, and that was how well it was going to run on my computer. I knew it wouldn't run well. It was Unreal Engine 5. Original T-Jock already didn't run very well on my computer. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It was very laggy, very slow, which hindered the experience. But even with that, I can say the game is very high quality, easily the most high quality FNAF game. One of the scariest. It actually scared me. But like the main thing, other than the whole experience thing, is that it is too difficult. Part of that could be that it was laggy and it was harder to find the fuses and deal with Ignited Chica on time before Foxy gets you and stuff like that, because it was a little slow. If I got a better computer, I could probably do it easier, but there's always an excuse for something like that. It is just too hard, and I don't want to put too much time into it with the circumstances I'm in. So I hope I get a new computer by the time that the next T-Jock drops, but chances are I probably won't. I'm just gonna cut all the mumbo jumbo and rank this. It is very high quality, very scary, very fun, looks amazing, and the beginning with the path and stuff was very interesting, and I don't know what it means, but it was cool. But I didn't beat it. I don't know. I never saw the ending. I didn't get all the achievements. I have around 8 hours and I didn't beat it. I don't think I'm gonna beat the demo anytime soon, unless I get a new computer really quickly. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Then we get to the last 2. It's like night and day. Regularly, I would probably have this in F tier. When this first dropped, it was horrible. Quite a lot of bugs, ground-breaking bugs, grain-breaking bugs, crashes, and just an unfun experience because I didn't have the right loadout. Then I eventually found the light. I saw the guide to 5 laps at Freddy's. All I needed was the correct loadout, a character on max with the midnight motor, and this game is great. Technically, this game is still bad. There are a lot of flaws in it. I have around 9 hours, and that is mostly the Midnight Motors map. I actually think that is a lot of fun. Fazbear Hills I play every once in a while. It's not that good. And then I never liked the Sinkhole. Even after the patches came out, Sinkhole was just a bad level. I said this a while ago, but I don't like the art style of 5 laps at all. This game is a lot cuter in my opinion. FNAF World is a lot cuter. Five Labs has this weird art style that I would see in like a FNAF fan animation. I don't know how to explain it. It's not very charming. Not only that, but it's also bland. Like at least FNAF World has a few quirks to it, like especially in the enemies and the update 2 characters, stuff like that. This game is just very bland aside from Midnight Motors, and even Midnight Motors is nothing to really look at. The tracks are very bland. It's just that Midnight Motors is the most fun to play because of all the sharp turns and like it's just the right difficulty. That too, the difficulty. It's either way too hard because like you don't know the loadout, or it's too easy because you know the loadout. For me, if I get on Midnight Motors and I play for less than 10 seconds, I am locked into first place for the rest of it, and my goal is just to get a better time. I also don't think they have plans for online multiplayer at launch. That will ruin this game. I still might play for a little bit, but not for long, because I can't play a car racer without multiplayer, you know? That said, I do have fun with it whenever I play it, just because. And that brings me to the holy grail of FNAF that just came out. The magnum opus, as some would. I was expecting this to be the best FNAF game. I wasn't expecting it to be as peak as it was. Into the Pit is a classic FNAF game. Not a classic style FNAF game, a classic FNAF game. Classic style FNAF game is point and click horror where you have to survive until 6 a.m. or something like that. It is point and click. You have a few screens to look at, not too complicated. A classic FNAF game is a FNAF game of any sorts that has classic ideas. And that's what I love about Into the Pit. It is a brand new type of game. The pixel art looks fantastic. New concept of bringing the books to the games. Story is great. Oswald is great. Everything's great. A lot of achievements, a lot of content. Easter eggs are some of the best Easter eggs in Secrets in a long time. 2-star ending, I'm not going to spoil because I know some people still haven't played the game due to consoles and stuff. The ending 2 specifically, 2-star, is amazing and one of the best in the series. I keep saying that, but modern FNAF has been on a roll for endings for some reason. 3-star ending is a little underwhelming. The real accomplishment in that is getting the ending, and once you see that you've gotten it, you are just so happy that you don't care about the ending itself. But like I said, the whole classic FNAF game thing. This has an extras menu. This has like sort of classic style jump scares. It brings you back to a Freddy's Pizzeria, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Loads of Easter eggs and like nods to previous FNAF games. That is something we haven't had since Sister Location. I said it earlier. The game was a blast to play. I'm already getting nostalgic from it. From everything, from the achievements to the secrets, to the gameplay itself being very fun and captivating, at least in my opinion. This game is fantastic. I love this game, and it took me a while to 100% it because the achievements are sometimes hard to understand, but also just hard to get in general. Nightmare mode is actually pretty hard. I love this game, and that's where I'm going to stop because this video has been dragging on for a long time. I love doing tier lists. My previous FNAF tier list was pretty bad in the video itself, and also my takes, I disagree with a lot of them. This is how it stands. So I'm going to end it with that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dislike the video as much as humanly possible, and I will see you in the next one. Toodaloo.